Today's throwback, we are having a look at the Toybiz X-Men Legends 5-pack featuring Gambit, Beast, Magneto, Wolverine, and the exclusive Rogue. Spot definitely wanted to revisit this set, certainly over the course of time. Spots have hopefully tweaked his videos and get them a little more polished, and this was a set that I wanted to go back and revisit just because it has some really incredible pieces to it. And if you didn't get a chance to get any of the individual figures, this was a prime opportunity to not only get them, but the exclusive Rogue that we had not gotten up to this point. This comes to us from the folks over at Toybiz, sadly who are not making toys anymore. Way to certainly depress the scene, Spot, by bringing in the fact that a company is no longer available. And it's really a shame too, because Toybiz was producing some phenomenal pieces, one of which being the set that we're looking at today. Hark, do my eyes deceive me? It actually says there's a poster book included as well. Well, I guess being that this is also throwback, Spot already knows that there's a poster book included, but I like to set the scene, as it were. Spinning around the back of the box, the poster book shows you the several different posters that will be included inside. We'll try to go through that together. Also some stats, some really nice stats, and I love the artwork here that they've used for the characters, especially the Wolverine there. The read-up says, "Change is coming, the future of evolution has emerged with X-Men Legends. They are mutants, Homo superior, gifted with strange and fantastic abilities simply by virtue of their genetic makeup. There is Wolverine, who with animal keen senses, a healing factor, and razor-sharp claws, helps protect a world that fears and hates mutants. The raging Cajun Gambit, who is able to charge inanimate objects with explosively released biokinetic energy, always has a card up his sleeve. The Beast, who dedicates his superhuman agility, strength, speed and endurance and dexterity, along with his superior intellect, to the creation of a better world for man and mutant. The young woman, only known as Rogue, has the power to absorb others' memories and talents through touch. Together they battle Magneto, the self-anointed master of magnetism, who dedicates his life to the advancement of Homo superior, even if he must bring about humanity's downfall to ensure the ascendance of mutant kind." One thing to note too, and as Spot's been kind of going back and looking at some of the Marvel Legends in his collection, I've also noticed too that a lot of this read-up is inserts, or excerpts I should say, from the back read-ups of each of those individual characters. So for example, Gambit, Spot has just had a look at Gambit, the Magneto, and Wolverine. They all have that read-up on the back. They've just taken clips out and smushed them into the read-up that we're seeing right now. So I kind of find that interesting. I find it interesting. I don't know, maybe nobody else does. What Spot is certainly going to do is I'm going to take a break. I'm going to reopen this, re-get it out of the packaging, and when we come back, we're going to get a better look again at the X-Men Legends featuring Gambit, Beast, Magneto, Wolverine, and Rogue. There's more heading your way, guys. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. So, having a look at the 5-pack once again. Actually, Rogue is just to the side there. We'll look at her in a second. All the figures actually also come with... Oh, there they all go! It's like I had a magnet. I just kind of... and they all knocked down. Each one of them do come with their own X stand. So there are 5 included. I just pulled out one so you guys can see what it looks like. They are all the same. You'll have to take my word for it. Just a really nice basic stand. It is raised as well. It's not just a smooth surface. You can see where the texture of the X is standing up. Also 2 peg points, so you can stand your figures, ironically enough, stand your figures up and they're not going to fall over. Put that to the side. Spot's not actually really going to look at the poster book, because we've kind of already looked at the poster book before, and all the artwork that you saw in the back of the package was in that poster book. Being also too that there's so many figures, I didn't want to eat up a lot of time. I know you guys really have other things that you need to be doing too, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time eating that up for you. Alright, so let's put these figures to the side and have a look at them individually. Hopefully they can get them all to stand. Spot, why don't you just use the stands? I know, I should really just use the stands. It's really You know what? We'll just lay them right there. Yeah. Okay. We'll just lay them right there. We'll look at them individually. First things first. Let's have a look at Gambit. Now, coincidentally enough, Spot has just had a look at the single-carded Gambit. Oh, that sounds like a segue. There's the single-carded Gambit right there. You'll see a slight difference in color. The body, I would say, is pretty much exactly the same to one another. But the difference is really with the heads and with the jackets. The heads, the single card, to I guess watching it to your right, is a little more tanned. So it's just a matter of, do you prefer your Gambit a little more tanned, or do you prefer him a little more pasty pale? Pasty pale Gambit doesn't seem to have as much of the stubble on his face as what the single carded version does, but it's the exact same head sculpt. There's nothing really different between the two. I guess more importantly, the main difference boils down to the jackets. One jacket is just the straight stitched fabric, kind of like a canvas, whereas the other one is more like a pleather. Now, if you ask me, of my own opinion here, I kind of prefer, and I even mentioned this in the single-carded version of Gambit, I prefer the more fabric trench coat. I know both of them really are fabrics, yes, technically. I kind of prefer just this fabric versus this one right here. This one kind of looks cheap to me. It kind of looks like, this looks more like a Barbie doll jacket, something you would put on a Ken doll. I don't really know, I'm not basing that from experience, but I kind of like the more fabric jacket a little more than this jacket here. Aside from that, though, it's the exact same figure. I think really for my preference, again, factoring in the jacket, factoring in the paint on the head, I think I still prefer the single-carded version of Gambit more than I prefer this version of Gambit. This version of Gambit, really, and same could be said for the rest of the figures, this version of Gambit is ideal if you didn't get a chance to get the individual version of Gambit, the single-carded version. But of the two, I would say the other one is a little bit better. He still has the same playing card accessory, and you can just... There is a better way to do it. I know Spot just kind of wedges it in between the fingers, and you can get something that looks like that. I mean, equally so, he also does come with the same staff that came with the single-carded Gambit. Same color, they haven't done anything different to it. So really, aside from jacket, aside from a slight paint change, Gambit is the exact same. Also, his articulation would also be the same. He has a ball joint in the head with a hinge, so quite a bit of movement in the head area there. Ball socket shoulders, swivel in the forearm and double bend in the elbow. Swivel and hinge in the hand. Individual four-finger articulation, although they are all attached to one another, but they still bend. He has the upper torso crunch, swivel in the waist, legs to go forward, back, out, a nice double bend at the knee, and swivel, bend, and hinge in the foot, and hinged toe. I probably won't do ratings on all of these figures. I'll do a rating on Rogue, but seeing as we've kind of already looked at Gambit, and we've really kind of already looked at a lot of these figures on their own, I'm not going to re-rate them. Gambit, same thing could be said. He is one of my favorite, again, probably my second favorite Marvel Legend of all time, but I prefer the single-carded version of Gambit to this one right here. Moving aside Gambit, having a look at the next figure, though the next one that unfortunately has fallen, we have ourselves Magneto. And again, Magneto is just a re-release of the original single-carded Magneto that Spot's had a look at. The only difference is, taking the helmet off here, a much angrier Magneto. I don't really like it. And in fact, I might have even said that during the course of this review the first time around. I don't like this face. It's angry, yes. I mean, Magneto is an angry mutant at times, but I kind of prefer the more reserved Magneto. Or, one better, for example, like the Marvel Select Magneto, he had a really sinister look on his face. It wasn't mad, it wasn't like he was angry, he just had a real sinister look on his face. He still comes with the same helmet you can put on his head. You kind of have to tip it on an angle though, because if you tip it straight up, you get something that looks like that, and it doesn't look quite right, so you have to kind of tip it down on an angle. I suppose with the helmet on him, it detracts, I think, a little bit from the face. that it doesn't look as bad. But without the helmet, it's a little too much for me, a little too much for my liking. Other than that, the body is the exact same. A very irregular body in the fact that he's very chunky, very short, stumpy legs, the same way the single-carded Magneto was. Also something that bothers me a little bit about this Magneto as well. He's also got that real awkward sumo wrestler belt where his waist sticks out so much and his torso sits inside of it. It's not actually lined up to his belt area. It really sits in there via this, because they had to put this ball joint in there. I've always kind of have been bothered by that. But aside from that, yeah, same looking figure. It doesn't seem to have as much of that glittery speckling that I noticed with the single-carded Magneto. But it's still, for what it is, it's not a bad figure. It also has the hinged shoulder sockets too, which kind of adds to this beefiness that you see in the torso section here. For your articulation, Magneto's head, again, on that hinged ball joint. He's got the hinge forward on the shoulders. You can hinge them. And then they have individual hinge sockets on the shoulders, so the arms still move in and out, front and back, but then you've also got the benefit of the hinged shoulders that move forward. Swivel in the bicep, a nice double bend at the elbow, swivel and hinge in the hand, and finally hinges on the 4 fingers. Still got the huge oven mitt hands, same thing that was featured with the individually carded Magneto. He's got the ball-jointed upper torso, ball-jointed lower torso, and legs go forward, back, out, swivel at the thigh, there we go. A nice double bend at the knee, swivel and the calf, bend and hinge in the foot, hinge in the toe as well. Again, really not... This Magneto is good, but it's never been... It's not something that's ever really super wowed me. Really, if given the choice, if I had only one Magneto figure to pick of all of them, I'd still go with the Marvel Select Magneto. That one is my personal favorite. This one still is good. It's still articulated and all that you would come to expect with a Toybiz figure, but it's, I think if given the choice between this one and the single-carded version, I would go with the single-carded version Magneto just because of that face. That's just my preference. I prefer the regular calm Magneto versus this angry Magneto. Moving along, the next figure we'll have a look at, which also has fallen, is Wolverine. Now, this Wolverine is unmasked. Technically, it's not the first unmasked yellow costume Wolverine that we've gotten. There was a very limited variant to the yellow costumed Wolverine that was unmasked. That figure is super expensive. What a lot of people have done, as far as I know, a lot of people have tried on eBay to sell this guy as the variant to the unmasked version of the regular yellow Wolverine. Whereas this figure is slightly different in the face. It's a different facial sculpt than the one that was unmasked in the variant. So I would say if you ever are buying this figure, or at least looking for that unmasked variant, do be very careful when scoping him on eBay, that some sneaky Pete's out there aren't trying to mask this guy or trying to sell this guy as that variant. But it's a great looking figure, and I really like this figure even to this day. Personally, if given the choice, I like masked Wolverine a lot more. Unmasked Wolverine doesn't do it as much as for me, at least comic Wolverines. Movie Wolverine, I mean, we only get unmasked Wolverine, but this one I actually do like, though. His claws are a little warped, a little bent, but still, it's a pretty good figure. It doesn't have as much articulation as you would come to expect, though. He doesn't have the crunch or anything like that in the torso. He still has the swivel in the waist, but he does have no crunch. His articulation, don't worry, it's just a ball joint. His articulation is, as you saw, he has a ball joint in the neck, a in the head, but it doesn't, because his head is so big, as you saw, when I bent the head, it pops the head entirely off. I mean, you can still move it, but be careful moving it far back. It might pop again, that head right off. He's got hinged socket shoulders, which move out. Swivel at the bicep, nice double bend, though really, it's a double bend at the elbow, but you're really not going to get any further than that on bending the arm. Still has a swiveled hand, hinged hand as well, And does he have any, he does actually have articulation in the 4 fingers as well. Why you really need it, I don't know, because you're really not, it's not a considerable difference between open and closed. And he doesn't also come with any weapons, so it's not really like you're going to have him holding anything. As I mentioned, still swivel in the waist. The legs go forward, back, out, extremely stiff. It's a nice swivel in the thigh, double bend at the knee, swivel in the foot, hinge, and bend in the toe. Personally, I think this figure, as well as obviously the Rogue, because the Rogue is the exclusive, are the reasons to get this set. Gambit and Magneto, personally, save your money and just try to get them as individually carded figures. But the beauty of this set, get it for this guy, get it for the Rogue, even the Rogue is kind of a bit of a train wreck. And at least you get those extra figures. But those extra figures are, for me, personally, fillers. They're ones you're getting as an added bonus. It's like going and getting a really nice steak dinner, and then afterwards they give you a free dessert. Free dessert's awesome, but if you only went there looking for the steak, then the free dessert is just a bonus. Wolverine is the steak, so is, again, the Rogue. These are the reasons why you want to pick up this set. Moving him along, and having a look at Beast. Beast, again, is a re-release, a reissue, and as far as I know, he is just a basic bare bones Beast. He's exactly the same Beast we got before. I believe the only exception is the fact that we get him with a lab coat. But aside from that, it's the exact same Beast. Really, and also you can, if you wanted to, you could just take this jacket right off and have a regular Beast, if that's your preference. Or if you didn't get a chance to get the first Beast without this. But aside from that, it's the exact same figure. Same articulation. He still has the open mouth. Open and closed mouth, which is a nice touch. And above and beyond the lab coat, he also comes with a pair of specs. And they're not the easiest to get on. You kind of have to wedge them against his ears and kind of get them above the nose, and you can get something that looks like that. I don't think this Beast had these glasses before, at least on the single version of Beast. And I don't know if I'm just the only person thinking this, but I kind of would have displayed Beast with glasses. Maybe glasses hanging upside down reading a book. That's kind of, for me, that's Beast. I don't picture Beast as a feral warrior that's going out in the battlefield. I picture Beast as more the reserved intellectual scholar who's reading a book in the library. So that's why I kind of would have displayed him with the glasses. So probably also a good reason that if you wanted to get this set, I think, again, this Beast only had the glasses in this set. Removing those glasses, we'll just put those to the side as they are very small and don't want to get them lost. Again, his articulation is the same as the Beast that we had gotten before. So a nice swivel in the head, moves up and down via, once again, that hinge socket. As we've already discussed, his mouth does open. I still like it closed, but if you want it open, you can do that. He has hinge socket shoulders, swivel in the bicep, nice double bend at the elbow. And the one thing I like about Beast is, aside from his hinged hands, he's also got articulated thumb, articulated pointer finger, and then 3 additional fingers as well. So if you wanted to have him deducing something, if he had just discovered a solution to whatever problem that they had, he had just read up on it, he's like, ah yes, hold on a second there, oh chaps, I've just figured out something. Why is Beast talking with a British accent? He does have a swivel in the waist. And then when you get to his legs hinge out. They swivel at the thigh, a nice double bend at the knee, hinge in the foot, and hinge in the toe. Personally, Spots never got the first Beast. I never got the original release Beast. It worked itself out that I think of all the figures, I picked up this set before I actually was looking for the single carded Beast. And it just worked itself out that I got this Beast, I didn't really need to get the single carded version. And that might very well be the same situation for you as well. You may not need, if you have this set, you may not need to get the single carded Beast. Unless you want to have one Beast with his lab coat, with the glasses, and another Beast out on the fighting scene, battling the Sentinels and mutant kind. Beast's still a great figure, and again, one of those cases, some of them, some Toybiz figures, some Toybiz Marvel Legends don't stand well to the test of time. Some of them look a little dated. Figures such as this, figures like Beast, I think still hold up well to this day. That then brings us to the exclusive figure, and that figure is Rogue. Well, for starters, she's a little awkward in the jacket here. Like the hinges are very, like this one hinge is really loose on Rogue. But I guess the biggest culprit on the Rogue here is the face. What is going on with that face? And I think I even mentioned that in the original video. What is going on in that face? Good body. I mean, the sculpt and the paint on the body is very Rogue, especially if you follow the original 90s X-Men cartoon. This looks like Rogue. This looks like Rogue to about there. And you're thinking to yourself, wow, that's a great looking Rogue. And then you're like, oh no. It's kind of an amalgamation of, I don't know, it's just, she's got too much war paint on, as I've heard people reference that as, too much war paint on, and she's got really, it's like she's an old woman that's gotten cosmetic surgery, and you know where you have cosmetic surgery? I don't have cosmetic surgery, but celebrities who have weird cosmetic surgery, I'm sure along those lines, friends at some point have said, okay, you need to stop. Carol, you need to stop. And then she's like, what do you mean? What do you mean I need to stop? You just need to stop. It's getting, we weren't going to say anything, but it's getting a little out of hand. I don't know what you mean. Well, for starters, you can't even talk. Your mouth, you've had too much work done on your face. The culprits, I suppose, oh geez, where do you even start? Okay, the face is a little too round. The face isn't narrow enough. That doesn't help. The mouth, I think, the mouth is like an old woman's mouth. Let's deduce this. If I put my thumb right there, does that mouth work? No. It looks like it's an old woman's mouth. Like this old woman that's been smoking for a while. She goes to church, but really she's not. She's somebody that lives a lifestyle that really going to church doesn't help. If we look at this, the nose, okay, the nose works. Yes, got it. The nose, well, no, even on the side, the nose looks a little too bulbous. And then she's got these eyes. What's going on with these eyes? She's first of all looking up. What? She praying? I really don't know. But there's too much going wrong too soon, all at the same time. That's basically the problem with Rogue. There's too much going wrong with her all at the same time. Aside from that, she's got the same kind of material as Gambit, which Rogue works. Rogue works well, I think, having this material. Gambit didn't like it. With Rogue, it makes more sense because she's got a little more of a windbreaker kind of thing where he's got more of a trench coat. So this doesn't bother me. The hair is probably just on... The hair is basically, if you were to look at the face and then you look at the hair, you're like, okay, you know what? What difference would it make if she even had a good hair sculpt? The face is a train wreck anyways. So, I mean, that's kind of my feelings with the hair. It ain't great, but it's on par with what you're expecting with the rest of the face. Her articulation is not bad. She does have the hinge ball joint in the head, moves quite a bit. The arms move forward and back, out, but again, like the jacket really hinders a lot of it. And it always wants, especially this one arm, it keeps forcing the arm out. It's not a fun, it really hinders a lot of it. And she does have a double bend, or sorry, a single hinge in the elbow. She has a swivel in the arm. And like really the arms are so thin. They're like matchsticks. The legs are fine, other than the crooked foot. The legs are fine, but the arms are way too skinny. She has a swivel, again, in that forearm. She has a bend in the four fingers. And then the upper torso is on a ball joint crunch. She has a swivel in the waist. Legs go forward, back, out. And when you bend the legs, they've clearly, you could tell that they had not figured out articulation yet on how to do hinged legs. Why they really just didn't give us the same kind of hinge as like a Gambit here, but I guess then you'd have, waist, ball joint. It just wouldn't look as clean. Not that it looks clean now, but I guess it looks a little bit better than what it could have been. She has a single bend at the knee, swivel in the calf here, bend in the foot, also a bit of a pivot, and a hinge in the toe. she's not a fantastic figure at all. I mean, I hate to say it, but unless we ever get a new... Maybe we do. I don't know. Maybe we'll get a new Rogue. But this, at least up to that point, at the time that this was released, this was the only way to get a Rogue. Is she fantastic? Not even close. But again, she is what she wants. Well, she is what she needed to be. For that reason, I don't even remember what I would have originally rated her as. But if I could rate her now, I would probably give her a 5. Again, as a Marvel Legends, she's not bad, but the face kills it for the entire figure. It really does. Today's throwback, though, boy, way to end it on a high note spot. Today's throwback, we're having a look at the X-Men Legends, Marvel Legends box set. It featured Wolverine, it featured Magneto, Gambit, Beast, and this very horrendous Rogue. Stay tuned, guys. Spot's going to have more throwbacks heading your way, more videos heading your way as well. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Sugar!